Okay, when you think about Netflix, you're probably thinking about what show to binge next, right? But behind the scenes, Netflix is an absolute data monster, operating on a scale that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. So take a guess. How many data jobs do you think they run every day to power your recommendations and all their internal tests? 1,000, maybe 10,000? Well, let's find out. The answer is hundreds of thousands. Yeah, you heard that right. Netflix runs a mind-boggling number of data and machine learning jobs every single day. We're talking close to 1 million workflows constantly firing off. It's just a staggering amount of activity. So that leads to the big question, right? How on earth do you orchestrate all of that without the whole system just collapsing into total chaos? Well, that is the exact problem Netflix had to solve. All right, let's dig into it. To really appreciate their solution, we first have to get a feel for the massive challenge Netflix was staring down. And it wasn't just about the insane volume of data, it was also about its timing. The single biggest headache for their data teams was this sneaky little problem called late arriving data. Imagine you're trying to bake a cake, but your flour shows up after you've already put the cake in the oven. That's basically it. A few late data points can mess up an entire analysis, which means you get bad insights and potentially you make bad business decisions. So, how they used to handle this? Well, the old solution was basically a brute force attack called the look-back window. Teams would just reprocess enormous chunks of past data, like the last 2 weeks' worth, every single day, just on the off chance that some late data had finally shown up. It's like repainting your entire house just to cover up one tiny scuff mark. Inefficient doesn't even begin to cover it. And this is where it really starts to hurt. First, the cost was just astronomical. You're burning through compute power, rerunning calculations on data that hasn't even changed. Second, it was painfully slow. These huge jobs would take hours, delaying insights the business needed like yesterday. And finally, it wasn't even a perfect solution. It was just a guess. What if data showed up 15 days late? Whoops, you missed it. So Netflix knew this whole setup wasn't going to work long term. They needed a smarter way. They needed a conductor to bring some order to this data chaos. And that's where Maestro comes into the picture. The easiest way to think about Maestro is as the air traffic controller for all of Netflix's data. It's a system they build from the ground up, specifically to manage, schedule, and run those hundreds of thousands of daily workflows with total precision. This quote from the Netflix tech blog really nails it. Maestro isn't just another tool, it's a whole platform. It provides workflow as a service. So what does that actually mean? It means engineers and data scientists don't have to sweat the complex behind-the-scenes stuff. They just focus on their code, and Maestro handles the rest. It's kind of like how a cloud service handles servers for you. So, okay, it sounds great in theory, but did it really work? Well, let's look at the most incredible impact Maestro had. It all came from a simple but truly revolutionary idea that led to just massive savings. The breakthrough was one of those brilliantly simple ideas. Just stop wasting time and money reprocessing data that you've already processed. Instead, focus only on the stuff that's new or has changed. Now, I know, it sounds pretty obvious, right? But actually making that happen reliably at Netflix's scale, well, that took some real engineering magic. They call this the Incremental Processing Solution, or IPS, and it's this clever three-step dance. First, they use a technology called Apache Iceberg, which lets them instantly see exactly which rows of data are new or updated. Second, Maestro creates a tiny, super lightweight change table that just points to those changes. It doesn't even copy the data. And third, boom. The whole data pipeline now aims at this tiny little table instead of the giant original one. We're talking surgical precision versus a sledgehammer. And the results? They are just staggering. Take a look at a real pipeline they had for user playback data. The old way, the look-back method, took about 10.5 hours to run. The new Maestro-powered IPS pipeline, just 1 hour. It's a fundamental shift from blindly replacing everything to intelligently merging in just the new stuff. So what's the bottom line? This new method completely slashed their costs by over 80%. Some reports even say it was closer to 90%. That is a total game changer, no matter what scale you're operating at. But the team didn't just stop with saving a ton of money. Nope. Next, they aimed for pure, unadulterated speed by completely redesigning Maestro's core engine. Okay, so this shows the huge architectural jump they made. The old engine was stateless. You can think of that as having amnesia. For every single tiny task, it had to go and relearn all the context from scratch. So slow. The new engine uses a stateful actor model, which is more like having a perfect memory. It keeps all that context live, right there in memory. This one change took the overhead for each task from seconds all the way down to milliseconds. So what did that all add up to? A mind-blowing 100x performance improvement in the workflow engine itself. 100 times faster. This just lets Maestro handle even more work, even faster, and more efficiently than ever. It's a quantum leap. And hey, what good is an incredible, powerful platform if no one can actually use it? Netflix was smart about this. They designed Maestro so that anyone, data scientists, machine learning engineers, you name it, can define their workflows in whatever language they're comfortable with, whether that's simple YAML, Python, or Java. So after being perfected and pushed to its limits inside the crazy environment in Netflix, the story of Maestro has now entered a really exciting new chapter. Here's the journey in a nutshell. After years of internal development, Maestro now powers 100% of Netflix's data workloads, that whole sub-million job ecosystem we talked about. And this is the really cool part, they've recently open-sourced it, making this ridiculously powerful technology available for the entire world to use. Now, this immediately brings up the question, right? Is this supposed to be an Airflow killer? Is it meant to replace tools like Apache Airflow? And the answer is not really. Think of them as different tools for different jobs. Airflow is loved for its amazing flexibility and huge community. Maestro is purpose-built for one thing, handling workflows at extreme, Netflix-level scale with as much speed and efficiency as humanly possible. And that kind of leaves us with this final big idea to chew on. Netflix had a unique, massive scale problem, and they solved it by building a custom solution from the ground up. As data just keeps exploding in volume and complexity for everybody, the question is, will more and more large companies need to follow Netflix's lead and build their own version of Maestro just to keep up? Well, I guess only time will tell.